This might be truly the last affordable neighborhood left in Las Vegas. And the strange part is, most buyers aren't even looking at it. While everybody's fighting over the same homes in Summerlin and Henderson, there's an area sitting right in the middle of the valley where you can still buy a detached, single-family home with a yard for tens of thousands less than the city medium. Same Las Vegas, same 5-mile radius from things you already drive to, just a name people have quietly written off. And I think that's a mistake. Here's what's really going on. Most buyers have already decided they're priced out before they've actually looked at the numbers. They hear Las Vegas median is around $450, they look at their budget and they assume the door is closed. But $450 is just an average of the whole valley. It hides the pockets, and there are still pockets in this city where the math works very differently, where the problem isn't that you can't afford a home, it's that nobody ever pointed you to the right zip code. So today, I'm going to show you exactly where this neighborhood is, why it's still affordable when everything around it went up, what you can actually buy for your money, and who should be paying attention. I'll also be straight with you about the trade-offs, because there are a few, and you deserve to hear them before you fall in love with the price tag. And stay until the end, because I'm going to tell you about a buyer who almost walked away from this entire area over one drive-by, and what changed your mind. And if we haven't met yet, I'm Mike Roland. I own the Roland team here in Las Vegas, and our team helps hundreds of buyers and sellers move through this market every year. So when I tell you where the value is, it's not a guess, it's where we're actually writing offers. The area I'm talking about is Sunrise Manor, east side of the valley, tucked right between Nellis Air Force Base and downtown Las Vegas. Right now, the median home price in Sunrise Manor is sitting around the mid-300s, around $370, while the valley as a whole is closer to $450. That's roughly an $80,000 difference for being a 10-minute drive from areas people pay a premium for. So, why is it affordable? Mostly because of when it was built. A lot of Sunrise Manor went up in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. It's established, not brand new. There's no shiny master planned entrance with a fountain and a guard gate. In real estate, no fountain usually means lower price. The bones are good. The marketing was just never there. Now, before I tell you what you actually get for that price, this is the part where most buyers get tripped up because they assume cheaper means smaller or worse. And that's not what's happening here. For somewhere in the 200s to high 300s, we're talking about detached single-family homes, not condos, not townhomes stacked 3 deep, actual houses with a driveway and a backyard. On the entry end, around $200,000. You're looking at older single-story homes, usually 3 bedrooms, block construction, often on a decent-sized lot because they weren't squeezing yards down to nothing back then. Move up into $300,000 range, and you start getting larger homes, updated kitchens, and newer construction out in the eastern foothills sections, closer to the mountains. And here's a quiet bonus a lot of buyers don't think about. The HOA drag is minimal out there, practically non-existent. In a lot of the newer parts of town, you're paying a few hundred a month just to exist. In much of Sunrise Manor, the number is small or zero. Over a 30-year loan, that's not a rounding error. That's real money back in your pocket. So, if the value is good, why is nobody talking about it? Honestly, reputation. Sunrise Manor is a big area, and like any big area, it's got blocks that show better than others. Years ago, it picked up a label, and labels stick around a lot longer than they should. People who haven't driven through it in 10 years still picture it the way it was, not the way it is. The second reason is simple. It doesn't market itself. There's no big builder running ads, no influencer doing tours of the model homes, so it just doesn't show up on the typical buyer's radar. Out of sight, out of budget conversation. And that gap between the old reputation and the current reality is exactly where opportunity lives. Because the moment perception catches up to the numbers, the deal usually disappears. So let me show you the signs that are already starting to happen. A few things are quietly working in this neighborhood's favor. First, location is doing the heavy lifting. You've got Nellis Air Force Base right there. That's a steady built-in base of buyers and renters who need to be close. You've got downtown Las Vegas about 10 minutes away, and downtown has had real money and real attention poured into it over the past several years. That energy doesn't stop at an invisible line. It spills outward. Second, you're seeing newer construction fill in on the eastern edge, up towards the foothills. When builders start putting up new product in an affordable area, that's usually a tell. They've run the numbers on where demand is heading. And third, the simplest signal of all, buyers who got priced out of Henderson and the Southwest are starting to look east. When the value is obvious, word travels. It just hasn't fully traveled yet. By the way, if you're sitting there wondering whether your budget actually fits in an area like this or what you'd qualify for today, just drop me a comment below or reach out directly. No pressure, no pitch. I'm happy to point you in the right direction. So, who should really be paying attention to Sunrise Manor? First-time homebuyers, number 1. If you've been renting and you assumed ownership was years away, this is the kind of area that quietly moves it up to this year. Military families? Absolutely. The proximity to Nellis is hard to beat. One-income households where every $100 of payment matters. And investors, because the the rent to price ratio out here tends to make a lot more sense than chasing a $400,000 rental somewhere flashier. Which brings me to the buyer I had mentioned at the top. We were working with a first-time buyer, single income, school teacher, had been renting for years, and was convinced she'd never own anything in this city. She had a number in her head, and every search she ran told her that number brought her nothing. Until we pointed her to Sunrise Manor, and I'll be honest, she almost said no before we even got out of the car. She'd done one quick drive-by on a rough block, saw exactly what she expected to see, and called me ready to give up on the entire area. What she thought was, this confirms everything I've heard. What actually happened is we got her 2 streets over into the part of the neighborhood the drive-by never showed her. A clean, 3-bedroom, updated inside, real backyard, sitting about $70,000 under what she'd been quoted on the other side of town. Well, she closed on it, and last I checked, she'd already put a garden in. The lesson? An entire area got judged by one street and one old reputation. And if she trusted that first impression, she'd still be renting today, paying someone else's mortgage instead of her own. So here's the biggest takeaway. Affordability in Las Vegas hasn't disappeared. It's just hiding in the places nobody's pointed you towards. Sunrise Manor gives you a real detached home, a real yard, low HOA, and a location wedged between a major employer and a downtown that keeps getting better, all for tens of thousands under the valley median. Is it perfect? No. The housing stock is older, so you'll want to budget for some updating, and it generally does change block to block, which means who you tour it with matters a lot, but older and a little overlooked is exactly what affordable looks like right before everyone else notices. If you're thinking about buying or selling anywhere in Las Vegas, Henderson, Summerlin, or the surrounding areas, my contact information is below. My team and I would genuinely love to help you find the pocket that fits your budget, whether that's Sunrise Manor or somewhere else entirely. And I'm curious, what do you think is the most underrated neighborhood in Las Vegas? Drop it in the comments and let's compare notes. I might just feature it in the next video. Oh, and before you go, if this was helpful, stay tuned for my next video where I break down the 7 questions to ask yourself before buying a home in Las Vegas. You won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.